Yo yo yo, today I'd like to do a video on my parachute tower. This is a public tower that anybody can use. I'll now move straight into how you can get more height on your tower. A normal 1x1 tower you can only get 19 stories high, whereas a staggered 1x1 you can get 24 stories high. To do this you can just place the bottom story normally, but on the second story we want to place 2 half walls and 2 full walls. And then we can build that all the way up to the top and then place 2 half walls at the top as well. To then get another 5 stories to bring our total to 29, we can place 5 elevators. You can actually place 6 elevators, but the top elevator will not be in TC radius, meaning anybody can pick it up. And I'd like to show you how the elevator section works. When we go up to the top, the hbhf sensor will detect us and stop the elevator getting automatically pulled back down. We can then use these ladders to go around to get to the very top. And now we can parachute from the very top. Once the hbhf detector does not detect anyone, the elevator will get pulled back down. I'd now like to move on to finding the build location. If you type printpos in the F1 console, it will tell you the height you're at. Each block is 3 meters high, so this can be useful for finding the highest places to build. Now into the build tutorial. We'll place this foundation as high as we can. We'll then place a triangle foundation on any side you want. This side seems to work. And also place a lower one as a jump up. Now we can seal off the base. And create a jump up for people in case the ladders are broken. I like placing the battery here so they can't loot the barrels if the garage doors are still slightly open. Alright, now that we've done the bottom part, we can move on to making the tower. For the first 2 half walls, you want to make the metal so they can't be pickaxed out. I then have the first 2 frames stone so it's harder to molly raid. You can then build wooden frames all the way to the top. Lastly, at the top, you can upgrade the half walls and floor to stone. Then we can place the netting all the way to the top. We can then place the wind turbine. We want to make sure we do this after we've built the tower to ensure there's enough room for the tower. We can then place some of the electronics. This won't be the final form. This is just part of setting up the elevator. You want to go up 7 stories and place the first set of counters. Set them all to show pass through. We can then go up 8 floors and place the second batch of counters. And finally, we can go to the top and place the last batch. I'll then connect up the second line of counters to the power out of the branch. Next, we can put a ladder on the side so we can easily get around. You can use this lantern to make it easier. Firstly, we can connect the second counter and place 3 of the elevators. We can then make our way to the top. We can then use the Twitch Rivals trophy to make the top elevator easier to place. If you don't have the Twitch Rivals trophy, you can just use a lantern and flippers. We can then head back down to get the wiring prepped for the 5th elevator. We can pick up this ladder and connect to the bottom counter. We have to pick up this lantern and replace it, else it can cause the ladder to break. We'll then place the last elevator, connect it up. We can then place the hbhf sensor and place the 2 ladders set to the very top. We can then add a button to cool the elevator back down. We'll only need this if someone's already using the elevator. The other cool elevator slot will be used to bring the elevator back down when there's no one on it. Next, we can connect up the rest of the power using Rustrition. I'll post a link below. The only electrical components that should be outside the base are the counters and the button. The counters are a lot stronger than most other electrical components, that's why we use them to convey the power. Set the hbhf sensor to include both authorized and unauthorized players. This is what it should look like on the inside. We can then place ladders to make it easier to climb the tower. One final thing I like to do is connect the conveyor to the TC to extend the upkeep. And we're done. Thank you for watching the tutorial. Up next will be a short demonstration of how to best use the camera. If you enjoyed the video, a like or a comment would be much appreciated.